A date which will live in infamy.
Alrighty, now the Mormon version of my video. Today, the 27th of February 2019. A day which shall live in infamy. And today is the day when evidence will be presented before Congress, specifically a congressional committee, that the President of the United States of America is a felon while president. Not just before, but as president. Michael Cohen will be appearing before, I believe it's the Oversight Committee today. I think. He's 3 days of oversight, intelligence, and I think judiciary. Two, yesterday and tomorrow's, will be closed. Today's the public one. And he will be presenting documented or recorded evidence that Trump has committed conspiratorial treason against the United States in order to become president, as he paid off those who helped him with his signature on checks as president, among many other things that will be presented. So today, Mormons, you will now have to decide whether you support the Constitution of the United States of America or whether you support corruption in government. Congress will have to do the same thing. Congress will now be faced with the option: do we commit conspiratorial treason and cover up for a president? Or do we finally impeach and indict? The Department of Justice will now be faced with a decision. Do they cover up for a president? Or do they indict a sitting president for crimes against America? Mormons, you knew about Joseph Smith's prophecy that the Constitution would hang by a thread. You've known this. The Scousins have written books on it. Others, I think, have written books on it too. So the question is, Mormons, now that you're presented with the evidence today, even though we've had evidence on his own tweets, but today others will be presenting physical documentation of a corrupt president as president. Today, Mormons, you will just have to decide: do you truly believe in the Book of Mormon? Do you honestly believe that the Book of Mormon is a warning to America not to put a king on the throne? Because Mosiah set forth very clearly that once you have a king on the throne, you have to have bloodshed in order to remove him, if you're able to remove him at all. Because he gets his friends to support him and cover up for him. He gets an army to protect him. He gets others to commit crime so that he has compromat on them. So Mormons, this is the crossroads. This is the point of no return. This day you must choose. Is the Book of Mormon true? Is the Constitution the divine inspired document from Jesus Christ, as the Doctrine and Covenants says it is? Whose side will you be on? Will you choose the right, or will you too betray America? I've already contacted my representative in the Senate, Mitt Romney, and asked him to vote for the dissolution of the national emergency. But today, he will also be faced with another decision to make, whether he will indict a sitting president, along with his fellow senators. I'm sure Congress will have no problem with impeachment proceedings. I would be worried if they hesitated, if they debated it. This is a clear-cut case of corruption of the presidency. If you do not understand the importance of this day, that an hour and 18 minutes, or an hour? No, 2 hours. No, it's almost 6. So yeah, 2 hours 18 minutes. Sorry. And of course, once I get it uploaded, it'll be even less. Today will go in the history books. Today we find out whether we become an authoritarian government or whether we, as a people, will rise up and take back our government. If Congress and the Department of Justice fail us, we, the people, must then step up and remove them from power. And yes, there will be bloodshed because they have the armed forces on their side. The armed forces at the border have already been committing horrific crimes against those who they were had in custody. Almost 5,000 reports of sexual assault by the border guards protecting and incarcerating those who are seeking asylum in our country. They haven't gone to court yet. They're not illegal. The alt-right Republicans call them illegal before they've gone to court to be found guilty of that. Just because they want to seek asylum, just because they want to immigrate to our country, does not make them illegal automatically. There has to be due process in the courts. And instead, they get thrown in a concentration camp, tent camp. And reports are now coming out that almost 5,000 complaints of sexual assault have happened by those who are supposed to be watching out for them, caring for them, protecting them, even though it's in a concentration tent camp, which in and of itself seems contradictory. Putting people in a concentration tent camp when they're not found guilty of any crime is a crime for which the UN has declared America a human rights violator. Authoritarianism is on the rise in the world. It is a threat to not just our security here in America, but to the security of the human race throughout the world. And on this day, we will have to choose and unfortunately, there are far too many who choose death to humans, death to America. And they're not Muslim. They're our own people. So I'm going to get ready for the day and watch the show unfold. I've made my choice, as you've seen. You now have a choice. You are forced in it. You have no options to bail out. You must choose. There is no other option for you. Now that you have been presented with the evidence, and you can't just not turn on the TV and not watch it and say, I didn't know. That doesn't count anymore. Because that places you on the wrong side of history when you refuse to believe, when you've refused to even witness. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. I'd say the other line, but that's copyrighted.